You're listening to Lifted You Weight Loss with Annie Jensen, Season 2, Episode 8, Hurdles. Hello, darling. I'm Annie, and I'm here to connect with you. I know we understand each other. We show up, we live hard, and you and I do all of it, carrying the same burden. But here is the most beautiful truth that I've learned over years of struggling with my weight. We do not have to live with this burden. So come with me because you are not alone in this. I'm ready to share everything. My story, my friendship, and every piece of value I've gathered along the way. My purpose is to lift you as you move forward on your own path to light, loving, and lasting weight loss and build something that finally works for you. Darling, there is a life waiting for you on the other side of this process. So let's ease this burden. Let's build what's already within you. Together we'll create a lighter, lifted you. If you are able to recognize a hurdle on your weight loss journey, and I believe we all can, do you know what that means? If you can recognize a hurdle, it means you are on the path. We've been together for several weeks now, and even if you're just joining this episode for the first time, you have made progress, my friend. I promise you have. You've made progress in your weight loss journey. In one way or another way, you are not the same person that you used to be. Real change is incremental. It is not quick, but it does happen. And it happens by making the choice to show up over and over again in one way or another, which is what you are doing by being here. In Season 2, we're focusing on this personal transformation from the person we've been, who has been struggling with this weight, to the person who is waiting on the inside of us, the person we need to become aligned with, who we really are. And today, we're going to focus on some tips and tricks on how to keep going, how to keep becoming her as we see those hurdles and move over them, move under them, move through them, move them out of the way, especially when it maybe just feels too hard or you really don't want to. But the honest truth is, you are too important. Your reasons for becoming more healthy and becoming the real you who's waiting on the inside are too important to put off. The people in your life who will benefit from you changing and becoming more healthy and happy are too important to put this off. And the potential that you have, the dreams that you can fulfill, the life you can live are all too important not to keep going every single day. So thank you for showing up here and in your life otherwise, for showing up for yourself, because you are so important. Keep working for yourself and for those you love. All right, let's talk about some ways that we can keep going when we're faced with one of these hurdles, one or more of these hurdles on our personal weight loss path. Let's talk about how we can recognize the hurdle and find a way to get through it, to get past it so we can keep making progress. Now, I mentioned knowing that you have made progress, and I also remember a time in my life where if somebody said that to me, I would have told them that they don't know what they're talking about. But that is a beautiful example of terrible thinking, terrible all or nothing thinking that isn't going to move you at all. So the first way that I would like to offer that we can move through a hurdle and keep making progress is to look back and see the progress we've already made. If one of your hurdles is not feeling like you're making progress, well, let's fix it by seeing where you actually have. Now, how do we do that? Let's try this. Well, you just pretend with me that you are having a conversation with someone you trust, someone you love in your life where you can have an open conversation about your efforts to lose weight and share with them how you're doing. Now, this person loves you and they are not going to want to hear all the things that you're terrible at. They will listen to your frustrations. They'll listen to your genuine thoughts and feelings, but they also want to know what you're doing well. And they're not going to listen to you say that there isn't anything. They know you, they know that's not true, and they're going to pull it out of you. They're going to say, okay, well, tell me what's going well. Tell me what you're doing right. How are you going to respond? What do you do well? What is your doer capable of doing naturally? What is something that you just do that will help you with weight loss? It's there. 100% it's there. Maybe you are really good at planning and you can follow through. Maybe you do like to move your body and going for a walk isn't a task to you. It's something you enjoy. Maybe you believe in yourself a little bit more today than you did a couple months ago. Whatever that looks like for you, will you think about it right now, please? What are you doing well? Even if you don't feel like it's adding up to weight loss, to numbers actually falling on the scale, what are you good at that if you apply it well and intentionally will help you make weight loss progress? What are you going to tell your friend? Because they're not going to leave until you share that with them. I would have said a few years ago, well, I actually really like meeting with my friends in my weight loss group online. And I like weighing in with my coach. I love those relationships. I like that support and I show up there. Guess what? That counts. Or what have you worked on to make a little easier for yourself? Are you really good at meal prepping? Are you good at shopping? Do you do well at the grocery store, not buying things that you don't feel like you should be taking home with you right now? Recognize the good, recognize the change, recognize the potential that those qualities hold for you. So if feeling like you're not making progress is a hurdle for you, hop that hurdle by seeing where you actually have made progress, and then see if you can guide that in a direction that will help you make more progress. If you can see where you're doing well, then you can tell yourself, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do more of it here or here or here, and let's see how that helps me. Okay, let's talk about a few other methods of moving forward, getting through some of our personal hurdles. What are some of your hurdles? Can you think of them right away? What hurdles do you have on your weight loss path? Imagine yourself still talking with that friend. What would you tell her or him? Imagine you started that conversation saying what was going well for you. Well, I am doing this. I'm doing this. This is a little bit easier for me, but ... this is harder, or I struggle here. Boom, there's your hurdle. Maybe you don't want to weigh in unless you know the scale's going to be down. Or you do really well, but you know that if there's going to be cake at an event, you're just going to want it. Nothing else is going to matter. That cake is going to take precedence over anything else. That is not a fake thing. I have felt that in my life. So now that you've thought of what you're doing well, what progress you have made, where your doer is more successful, list those strengths or good qualities and follow it by a but. Well, I'm doing well here, ... but ... boom, there is your hurdle. Can you think of one or 10? I could list 10 hurdles for you right now, but I'm not going to. You think of one or two for yourself, okay? And I'm going to give you a few questions to reflect on as you think of these personal hurdles on your weight loss path. When does this hurdle come up for you? In the mornings, in the evenings, on the weekends, at social events, at home, or maybe it's a certain time of day. How does this specific hurdle or hurdles specifically affect your everyday life? If it's less often than every day, what triggers it for you? What brings it up? Think of one or two specific personal hurdles and how they are affecting you as we move in here to start talking about how to move through them. If you've been here for a while, you know that we've talked so much about lens, perspective, clarity, mental bugs, seeds of error in our weight identities that were planted at various times in our lives. If we are stuck somewhere with a hurdle in front of us, it means that somewhere we don't have clarity, our perception is off, that we are misprocessing data through our minds about that hurdle. Simple example. Do you have to have cake at a party? No. Have I felt like I could not physically make it through an event if I don't have cake? Yes. Was I wrong? Absolutely. There is a simple example of how a hurdle of cake is just a data processing error in my mind about that cake, about myself. The way you are processing the data in your mind in regards to your hurdle is the hurdle. That is what is keeping you stuck. So what do? You've got to change the meaning of that data in your mind. That's what's going to get you unstuck. And this is why we've talked about becoming present with yourself in the moment, going to the special place that we created for yourself, that favorite special place where you can be just you, connecting with the essence of yourself inside, the real you on the inside who has nothing to do with weight, feeling her and reminding yourself that you, that I, Annie, the real Annie, has nothing to do with cake, has nothing to do with weight, has nothing to do with the party that I'm at. Remember, we are not our bodies. We are not our situations. We're not our brains. We get to manage all of that. So whatever your hurdle is, you tell yourself that you are above it. You are separate from it. It is just a thing. It doesn't have the meaning that you have given it. It doesn't have the power and the influence over you that you have allowed it to have. So let's take a moment and reframe whatever hurdle you have. Let's extract the yucky, heavy meaning that you've let it have in your life. For me, yes, sometimes cake, but really it was the lack of belief that I could do what I wanted, that I could have it or not have it and it not be a big deal. That was a big hurdle for me. Our first little tool to reframe this hurdle for you is to think of it in terms of gratitude. We're going to look at your hurdle through a gratitude lens. That's going to instantly help us see it a different way with a little bit more clarity and some hope. And that's going to instantly move us through a little bit of our stuckness. Now you're going to have to think a little bit, but think about something that your personal hurdle that you're dealing with right now makes you grateful for. How has it built perspective in your life, given you experience in your life that you can use to help yourself and others? How has this hurdle shaped who you are? Look, I can pop on this podcast and tell people that I feel like cake has had power over me, and that in middle school, boys called me all the things. My hurdles in life have given me empathy. They've given me perspective, and they've given me the ability to hopefully, what I'm trying to do is lift others. How can you look through your hurdle, look around it, look up and over and past it, and see how it can actually be a blessing for you once you get through it? And here is a beautiful question, okay? You haven't conquered this hurdle yet. And because you haven't, how can this particular hurdle help you shine your light into the world as you are now? How can you use this challenging situation in your life, this struggle that you have right now, before you even conquered it? If you can answer that question, you are on your way to moving through it in a completely different way than you would have thought before. Before, it just seemed like this obstacle that's in your way. But if you can look at it from a different angle, see it differently in your life, take out the yucky meaning and insert new possibility and hope, you're well on your way to changing it and using it for your benefit in the meantime. Now, after you've conquered the hurdle, let's talk about that. After you've conquered it, how will it help your future you, who we also desperately want to become? How will conquering this hurdle help her shine her light into the world as she is then? In other words, how will conquering this hurdle in your life lift you? How will it change your life? That is such a hopeful question, such a hopeful perspective to have when looking at this challenge. Now, we're going to look at this hurdle in one or two more ways, one or two more angles. First, when you look at it, this hurdle is giving you a direct view into a skill that you are missing on your weight loss path. This hurdle is sending you messages, specific clues about yourself on your weight loss journey. So these hurdles are a great way to examine what you need to be doing better, what skills you need to be practicing. So in other words, what have I not been doing or thinking? Or what am I doing or thinking that's keeping me stuck? What about this hurdle and my way of thinking about it is keeping me stuck? What changes do I need to make there? Your hurdle is shining a giant spotlight on a tool in your weight loss toolkit that you need to work on. And remember, every skill that you need goes back to those 4 essential skill sets of weight loss that are in your toolkit. Remember, thinking clearly, seeing a situation clearly, then making an intentional choice and moving yourself forward through it. Whatever your hurdles may be, if you can find a way to think about it more clearly, you will see your path more clearly. Then you can make an intentional decision to move, to act in a certain way, and that will get you moving forward. Remember, personal change is about movement, incremental, tiny movement that builds and adds up to you becoming the actual you who's waiting on the inside. Okay, so your hurdle is telling you that you have a missing skill and you just need to practice it. I'm going to list some skills here that are helpful in weight loss. As I list them, think about your hurdle. Think about what it may be highlighting for you in your life, what you are doing or what you're not doing enough of, and see if any of these skills resonate with you. Here are some skills that you may be missing on your weight loss journey, or that you may just need developing a little bit, okay? Here we go. In no particular order: organization, prioritizing, execution and follow through, trust, either in yourself or in a process, recognizing shame in your self-talk or your approach, and then dismissing that and changing, healthy personal habits, taking accountability, self-talk, and incorporating hope into your daily life. All right, I'm going to give you one example of one hurdle and then several potential skills that, if worked on, could help somebody move through that hurdle. Let's pretend that your personal hurdle is planning out food and sticking to it, following through. This is something that I have struggled with, and these are skills that I certainly could benefit from working on. Organization, prioritizing, execution, and follow through. Oh my gosh, 100%. Those are things that do not always come easy for me. Trusting myself and the process, healthy habits, and accountability. Look, all of that right there. If I just even picked one of those skills and made efforts to develop it and get better, my hurdle would get smaller. And it could be tempting to get overwhelmed. I mean, I just listed a lot of potential skills that I'm lacking in. But like I said, just picking one. And that is such a brighter, lighter, more hopeful way of approaching a hurdle than just letting it weigh you down and letting that data just spin and spin and spin in your brain, and that bug just spin and sit all nestled and cozy in your weight identity. And this is where those appealing and possible plans come in. If you see a hurdle and it's showing you skills that you need to develop, that you need to get better at, that your doer needs to work on so that you can make progress, that is the perfect time to slip in an appealing and possible plan that makes you feel like you want to do it and that you will be successful. And boom, there is some incremental change. And we all know where that goes. Incremental change grows and grows and grows. And that brings us to some final thoughts. Our hurdles are only hurdles because we are telling ourselves they are hurdles. They are hurdles because of the way that we are thinking about them, the way that we are processing the data in regards to them. And we can stay stuck for years but we don't have to. Reframing those hurdles, looking at them with a little bit of gratitude, seeing some hope, letting them tell us where we need to improve and develop some skills and feel some discomfort, no doubt. We are already making progress. And I know I needn't remind you that progress is not often linear. Even among the most determined, there are going to be setbacks. However, picking one skill that you believe will help you move through a hurdle that you're struggling with is going to work. It has to feel doable, and you have to want to get there, and you will. And you never know where one little tiny step or 3 little tiny steps somewhere else will eventually take you. I'm going to leave you with this beautiful quote that I love by Michael A. Dunn. He says, "Every effort to change we make, no matter how tiny it seems to us, just might make the biggest difference in our lives." What is a hurdle that you are struggling with right now? How might it actually be a blessing in your life? What perspective is it giving you? How can it help you help yourself and others right now? And how will conquering that hurdle lift your life and help you help others in the future? What skill is that hurdle pointing you toward to work on? How can you work on it? How can you make a little bit of progress with that skill? And once you start doing that, start looking for you to move through that stuckness. You're going to start working through that hurdle so that eventually, as you look at it behind you, it'll be this little tiny bump on your path that you can barely even see anymore. Have a wonderful week, darling. I will see you next week. Take care.